Hello, Jason Lamoureux with Coldwell Banker Commercial. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about rent abatement and rent deferral requests we're receiving from tenants and talk about the process and also the difference between rent abatement, rent deferral, and also some of the programs that the federal government is offering to help us through this period of time. With that, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing let's talk about is request for abatement. That is when a tenant is asking for a specific period of rent to be waived and not repaid at a later date, as opposed to rent deferral. Deferral of rent, whether it's 30, 60, 90 days, is actually deferred to a later date, whether paid in a lump sum or amortized over a later period, let's say 12 or 24 months. So with that, there's also partial deferrals. Maybe rent is cut down to 50%, 75%. Other negotiations we work with is base rent versus CAMs. As you may know, a landlord still has ongoing expenses with a property, including maintenance, utilities, property taxes, insurance, and those ongoing expenses obviously have to be paid. So each request is handled in a unique way. Each request is different. We also have to weigh the abilities of the landlord to be able to assist the tenant and also the tenant's need for a rent abatement or rent deferral. So tenants need to be prepared when they make that request. Like I said, each one is unique. Tenants should be able to provide how the COVID-19 issues affecting their business, whether their business is closed, it's partially open, maybe takeout only, or it is open for business. Has their business been deemed essential or is it non-essential business? Another thing that we are requesting when possible is sales reports for the prior month and also the prior year, same month, just so we can see how it's affecting the business. And a lot of landlords like to see that the tenant has provided for request, whether it's a PPP loan or from their local bank. I'll talk about that in a little bit on what programs are available. Most importantly, when you actually agree to a deferral or an abatement, it needs to be in writing, needs to be documented, and needs to be a part of the lease agreement. Never assume, even if it's just a discussion with the landlord, or assume the landlord's going to waive. Make sure that you get that documented, whether it's an amendment or a specific form related to COVID-19. So let's talk about the different programs, the CARES Act. The first one is the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program, EIDL, which is the Economic Injury Disaster Loans, and EIDL, Emergency Bridge Loan, and PUA, which is Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. I'll cover those four items, and these are some of the primary programs that we work with our tenants to make sure that they know that there's additional relief out there that helps not only the tenant, but also helps the landlord through this difficult period. Let's start with the PPP program. It's an SBA loan that's actually facilitated through your lender or a SBA lender within the region. It's for businesses with 500 employees or less. It's calculated based on your monthly payroll times 2.5 times. There is a 75% requirement that it is used for payroll and that you maintain your payroll. It can also be used for mortgage and rent expense along with utilities. The loan is geared for a 24-month loan, 1% interest, no payment for the first 6 months. Again, these were the original terms that were negotiated. This loan process has been a living, breathing instrument that has been changing on a daily basis. So, of course, your lender will have exact details. No collateral, no personal guarantees. The loan process is a total of 4 pages. Really, it's the first 2 pages that ask the primary questions with information on page 3 and 4. Very easy to fill out. It's forgivable. There's a lot of talk on this, but it has to meet requirements primarily related to keeping employees on the payroll. Obviously, it's Paycheck Protection Program, and SBA is making sure that employees are working and employed. There's $349 billion that was allocated to this. There is talk that that might actually raise to a total of $600 billion. It is on a first come, first served basis. I understand the SBA has been overwhelmed and there has been difficulties with getting through the process, which opened up last Friday. So we're hopeful to see that rolled out and our tenants to be able to take advantage of that. Next, let's talk about EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Loan. It's an SBA direct loan. You don't go through your local bank or a lender. You actually apply directly to SBA. This loan is not a forgivable loan. It's meant to be a low interest loan to help employers and businesses through this difficult period of time. Again, it's also for businesses with less than 500 employees. As you're applying for the disaster loan, there's a 10,000, or they say actually up to a $10,000 grant that is forgivable, even if the loan is not approved. So if the loan is turned down, the $10,000 is not repayable. Interest rates are 3.75%, and you can apply directly online. It can be utilized for payroll, but however, if it is utilized for payroll, you can't use PPP funds for payroll. It's one or the other. So this can be used for other items other than payroll if you are applying for both programs. The next item that we have is the EBL, the Emergency Bridge Loan. It's up to $25,000 for disaster relief. It's meant to work with banks, local banks that a lender already has an established relationship with, and also it's not forgivable. So the pandemic unemployment, it's for people who are self-employed, business owners, independent contractors that normally wouldn't be covered under who would normally not be covered under unemployment insurance. It expands benefits up to $600 per week up through July 31st for a maximum of 39 weeks. This is meant for people who are unable to work because of COVID-19. They're not currently receiving unemployment benefits or paid leave from an employer. And this can be retroactive back to February 2nd, 2020. So with that, we've covered the main programs that we work with our tenants and our clients with to help them through this difficult period. If you have a property and you need assistance with your tenants or you need assistance with these programs, by all means, give us a call at Coldwell Banker Commercial, 760-684-8000. We look forward to working with you and through this. Thank you.